There's only one thing that I enjoyed during this state election, and it's the same thing I enjoy during every state, federal and local election, and that is finding the weirdest fucking people, the rarest Pokemon, the strangest, most cooked candidates. I present to you the top 5 most cooked candidates in the Victorian state election. Let's catch them all! The first one that we've got is Christine Sint, and she's an independent from Morwell. Christine wouldn't be anything out of the ordinary, I guess, in seats like Morwell. She's a bit of a frothing homophobe, bit of a racist, that kind of thing. She comes from that sort of tribe of people who believe in this like word soup about things what's gone too far these days, like Daniel Andrews, safe schools, gender fluid, cultural Marxism, Agenda 21, fucking pedophile, gay, priest, that kind of thing. They sound convinced, but what they're convinced in is anybody's fucking guess. The amazing thing about Christine is that she's a space-flavoured homophobe. She wants a space agency in Morwell, and she's obsessed with things like rockets and going to space. I'm personally entertained by the idea of a racist or a homophobe who has a space theme to her. It's like imagining a small Reclaim Australia rally on the surface of the moon, or picturing a giant silver spaceman floating through the black void of space, but with a flag cape tied around the helmet, you know? It's beautiful in a way. Let me read out to you a response she made to someone who accused her of being what she is, a raving homophobe. She said, "You have never met me, you don't know me, and you don't know what you're saying. A vote for me is a vote for the Australian Space Agency and a first-hand view of a rocket to Uranus." Christine Sint got 0.6% of the vote in Morwell, and thus her big white body has to stay in Morwell. Only her mind can travel to outer space. Our second candidate is Harvey Yemeni with the Australian Liberty Alliance. Full disclosure, I think I know a lot more about this particular candidate than I do the rest of the candidates in the election, because Harvey Yemeni is someone that I regularly comment on. He's far right, he's anti-Muslim, he's racist, he's anti-LGBT and so on and so forth. So that's the kind of person that I usually find myself talking about.
Racist dog! Dogs! Dogs!
But he's very, very cooked, and he is a rare Pokemon, particularly for the way that he conducted himself throughout the election, and that's why he's in the top 5. Harvey is a sort of a bug-eyed little narcissist. He's very, very good at Facebook, but not very good at being a good human being. He pretends to hate Muslims in exchange for Facebook reach, which he's good at whipping up for himself. He's about 4 foot tall. He has a background in the Israeli Defence Force murdering Palestinian children. He signed up as a candidate with the Australian Liberty Alliance because he shared something in common with them. They also pretend to hate Muslims. In their case, they do it in exchange for big campaign donations from financiers who are often overseas. Harvey didn't actually have any policies, and he doesn't understand anything about our political system. So he spent the entire week in Caulfield at the polling booth harassing Greens and Labor volunteers, you know, people who had taken time off of their jobs to hand out how to vote cards for their parties, and he would spend the entire week on Facebook Live attacking them and asking them all these questions as though they were the candidates. Very odd.
Oh look, he's got protection. Fuck off.
He got under 1,000 votes, and he gained about 20,000 Facebook likes during the election. But again, he only got 1,000 votes. So you see what the problem is there when it's the election that you're trying to win and not a Facebook popularity contest. It just beggars the question, you know, what was he going to do if he did get voted in? Was he going to sit in every sitting day of Parliament on Facebook Live harassing other pollies? The truth is, I think the answer to that, as we all know, is yes, and that's why it's really good that he got fuck all votes.
Males.
Our third candidate is Francesco Timpa, an independent, or as he calls himself on his Facebook page, Francesco Timpa, thinker, politician and architect to the very rich and worthy. I'm not very rich and worthy, but I'm going to try and explain this guy. I don't know how to explain this guy. He hates the Greens a lot. He says climate change is a big scam, but he committed to not using one ream of paper during the entire election in order to demonstrate his environmentalist chops, even though he thinks that the Greens done a global warming by pretending that there was a global warming. I'll quote Francesco. Here's his words. Will they hunt down the Greens like they do the Nazis? Will you boast of being a Green when family or people you know start dying because they can't afford to heat or cool their homes because of the high Greens caused electricity bills? People are gonna start dying from no aircon because the Greens pushed the prices up. What a thoroughly old man. Francesco actually got 1.6% of the vote in Pascoe Vale, which, given how cooked he is actually pretty impressive. At number 2 on the list is Gottfried Wolf. So I want you to look at Gough. He's a chill dude in a fucking Hawaiian shirt. He's fucking chill as, bro. You know, he's fucking chill as, right? He's an extra from The Big Lebowski. Look at him. Now, all I want to do is read out his chill as fuck policies. Number 1, the reintroduction of capital punishment. If someone takes a life, they forfeit theirs. Number 2, overhaul of corrections Victoria. Number 3, prisons will be a place of punishment, not reward. Number 4, youth detention. Once you're 18 years of age, adult prison is where you go. Number 5, 20-year sentence for all culprits involved in home invasions and carjackings. Number 6, no vehicles bigger than transit vans in right lanes on multi-lane roads. You know, the streets are running with the blood of these criminals. Gough standing in the middle of it all, and his Hawaiian shirt is just saturated
with the blood and gore of carjackers and home invaders, you know, and the only thing that isn't filled up to the brim with blood and gore and guts and filth and shit
is the right-hand lane in multi-lane roads, which has been cleared up by his new policies. The final of our state election cooked rare Pokemon candidates, and perhaps my favourite of all, I think, is Daniel Jones of the Australian Liberty Alliance. Let's go back. Danny was once upon a time like a weird, sort of super goth, cheesy, emo, cornball type dude. Like he was in like a gothy metal band, and he was, you know, he's just a harmless loser. And then he gradually turned into a tactical military combat warfare, G.I. Joe, Punisher type of dude. Like that became his new aesthetic. Like one of those dudes that you see on Facebook who posts up pictures of skeletons or wolves with like a caption that goes like, "I'm having a bad day, motherfucker, don't mess with me." But he actually appears in real life with that same aesthetic. So all he did during the entire election campaign was play bodyguard for Harvey Yemeni. Literally standing there in all black like this, wearing an actual bulletproof vest. What are you doing, dude? Danny, who's gonna... He didn't campaign. He actually didn't. He just wore all black and stood next to Harvey to protect him. At one point, for about a week, he went off to Brisbane for some weird G.I. Joe, Punisher wank, military industrial complex conference during the election. Don't leave the election, you know, that you're a candidate in so that you can go and bat off over the Punisher for an entire week. That's not what you do there. Danny got fuck all votes, of course, you know, he didn't do anything for them. But then since then, Danny's gone fucking mental, bro. Like, my dude, he's going fucking nuts. The fun thing about him, and the reason that I mentioned his cheesy emo goth past, is because he's actually channeling it a little bit with the shit he's been doing after he fucked up in the election. Because he keeps posting things on his personal Facebook page, mixing old goth metal lyrics about, you know, how the world should burn and stuff, with new Punisher jerk Danny, like killing mannequins and stuff. And it's a visual threat to the world to kill people. Look, Danny's a mega rare Pokemon, but instead of catching by me, what he probably needs is catching by a cat team for a psychiatric valuation. Anyway, good job during the election, Danny.